You are tuned into the Shattered Podcast, Cellbound Edition, with your host, D. Elias.
Welcome to the Shattered Podcast. Today I'm at the Sevier County Jail, and we've started a new series called Cellbound. And with me today I have Steffan Barrington. His friends and family know him by Louie. So first of all, Louie, thank you for coming up and giving your testimony
Yes,
today.
ma'am.
And let's start by you taking us back to your childhood.
As a kid, I grew up here in D. Queen, Tall Pines. But I grew up with a lot of physical abuse and a lot of drug use. And growing up like that at the time, I thought, until here recently, I thought that was the norm,
Because that's all you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I didn't see any different, and no one spoke up and said anything that, about it at the time either. So, but yeah, like I said, I can remember going back to about the time I was in kindergarten, and I could roll a joint before I could tie my shoes, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, But like I said, I didn't know any different, I didn't know where you got marijuana from, but I just knew that it was always there. And growing up thinking that this was an everyday thing, even to the point where I remember I couldn't even function without having, marijuana. So it was real.
And how old was you when you started smoking marijuana?
About 5 or 6 years old. No older than 6 years old. I remember. I learned how to drive. I remember driving around and down in the fairgrounds and driving back and forth to Eagletown with my dad in the back seat and smoking drugs. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, that I got to drive. Like, I didn't care what they were doing back there in the back seat, but just driving around like that, because I was pretty tall for my age. So.
And how old were you then?
I was 6 when I learned how to drive, and I was 7 when I learned how to drive a standard shield. So
you would drive them around at 6 years old?
Yeah, in the middle of the night. I remember he'd wake me up and throw me the keys. Come on, boy, let's go riding. And I just thought that was regular. I didn't know any different. And I grew up with him and my uncles and all their cousins and everybody else in the ghetto, almost like an adult, as a kid the whole time. I never really got to be a kid, except for my birthdays, but besides that, I never got to be a kid. All that abuse and stuff, I got pretty tough at a young age. So, and then I guess it just helped smoking that marijuana, helped numb the pain and stuff, and numb reality out a lot. Blocked that out a lot. My mom never said anything, and my mom was real young too when she had me. She was 14 when she had me, so I grew up with my mom almost like a sister. So
right.
We were both learning together, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm. Did your mom use drugs as well at that time?
Yeah, marijuana. She used marijuana on a regular basis, smoked weed all the time. And she drank a lot too when I was young. I remember when she quit drinking, about the time I started smoking marijuana, she quit drinking. But that's where my middle name comes from, Colt 45, malt liquor, because my name is Steffan Colt. So she said she couldn't think of anything else to go with my name. So that gives you a little bit about
that was her favorite beer. So
yeah. So yeah, I grew up with that, hand in hand. A lot, every day.
And then your mom left your dad and moved you to Texas?
Yeah, my dad, that physical abuse got real bad. And my grandma lived with us too. My grandmother, she lived with us until I was 10 years old. And she moved out with another man. She got married and remarried and moved out. And that physical abuse came really bad. Like, it became real bad. And, me and my mom was just, I called it getting whoopings. We'd get whoopings together, and I've never seen anybody get whoopings before, maybe like on TV, but that's still an understatement, how tough it was. But looking back on it now, after I made it through it, it doesn't, I don't condone of it, and it got so bad to the point where I made a vow to myself that I would never even whoop my kids. I'd raise them right, and I raised them in church. I never had to spank my kids, thank God, so far. But yeah, it got so bad to the point where we had to sneak out. I remember my mom and I, we packed suitcases up in the closet and had them hid in the closet and waiting for the perfect time where my dad would go out, because every Friday he'd go out and smoke or get high or whatever he did,
right.
And drinking and stuff. And we snuck out and we took off, and it's the first road trip I've ever had when I was 10. And I just, I thought it was pretty cool, and but being a young man at the time, it's something about boys that are attached to their dads, no matter how bad it gets.
Right.
But But at the time, I knew that we had to go, you know, and I talked my mom into it, and she cried pretty much the whole way to Texas, and we went down there and we moved to East Texas, and in the mid-90s when I was 10, and in that first summer, it was pretty tough on me in the city, you know. That is another thing that had a lot to do with my drug use, being half black and half white. You know, I got the best of both worlds and the worst of both worlds. You know, sometimes I wasn't white, sometimes I wasn't black. You know? But so I had to find something to help me cope with that. And that, you know, it was a big, that and the physical abuse was the main two things that had me, you know, reaching out for drugs and things like that, looking for an alternate feeling. But we got down there, and our first summer was, you know, it was all hip hooray. But after time got to passing by, my mom started seeing other men. You know, I guess she was lonely or whatever, and I didn't like that. I missed my dad, and I forgot all about the physical abuse, you know, and so I wanted my mom to get my dad back, and they started talking, you know, and we kept coming down here and visiting him and things like that. It got to the point where she was so scared to get him back that I snuck away, and I got one of her friends that was coming to D Queen that was from here to give me a ride down here, and I stayed with my dad, and he lost everything after she left, I guess, you know, but I mean, I know how heartbreak feels now, you know, being an adult.
Yeah.
And so I guess he reached out to drug use even more. And I remember living with him in my aunt's garage, and without a garage door. And I was scared to go back. I wanted to go back home. You know, I was cold, I felt hungry, and I felt alone, but I didn't want to leave my dad, but I knew I wanted to be with my mom, and I knew I would be living better.
Right.
So I snuck away one day, and I made a phone call to my mom to come get me, and she was so scared that her and my uncle came down here with the police, and I never forget that day. They came to Harvey Drive where my aunt was living at the time, and came down the hill with the police and had the blue lights to flash and everything, and I felt so bad that I had that, you know, like army, I guess you'd say, coming, because my dad had this reputation, you know, his name wasn't scrapped for no reason, you know. And I felt bad though. I mean, I wanted to leave, but I didn't want to leave him. But I knew I had to, because I guess now looking back on it, the drug use was, you know, his priority at the time. You know, and now I know, being a drug user now, I know what you know, how strong that hold has on a person. And I understand a lot now about how things went down, you know, why they were the way they were.
Right.
Being an adult and using drugs, but yeah. So I went back to Texas, and I couldn't live without him. So, and I got my mom and dad to talking again. I had my dad promise that he would quit doing drugs, and he did. And I never seen it not one time in my life but that time, and he did for a little bit. And everything was great. Everything was great, you know. And I was going to school, and I wasn't having to come. I was worried when I was younger, living here in D Queen. With the school bell ring to let out of school, my stomach would just drop, and I would be so scared to go home because I knew I'd do something wrong, just anything wrong, you know. And I thought my dad was just an asshole, but it was the drugs, you know.
Right.
And
it made him violent.
Yeah, super violent, you know. And
at what point did you turn to meth?
Well, my dad, he lasted for about 4 years down there with us. And after my first year in high school, my freshman year in high school, he was getting real bad on drugs, and I'm not sure which ones it was, you know, if it was crack or meth or something, but I knew it was something other than marijuana. And he was getting real bad to the point where we'd have to leave every other night, and we'd go to one more parking lot at Supercenter and sleep in the car. And you know, I learned how to drive at an early age, but my mom, she had a job and she had to be there at 5 o'clock, so I would take her to work and drop her off, and I would take my little sister and my little brother to school and drop them off, and I would go to school, and I would leave school early to go pick them up and then go pick my mom up until we felt like we could go back home. And so that got so bad, so one day I told my mom that, you know, again, we had to plan this escape, you know, this runaway that we would do. And we did it one more time, and this time that, I mean, I wanted her to go back to him, but I knew better. So I just made her promise me that, which now as an adult, I know you can't make those kind of promises. I made her promise me that she wouldn't get another man, another boyfriend or something, you know. And what she did, and when she did get another boyfriend, I felt like she broke that promise and stuff, and we had a big old falling out. So I started skipping school and got real big in truancy, and being truant all the time. I was smoking marijuana and drinking all the time, you know, and it got to the point where that was an everyday thing. I had to have that, like, just to get up out of bed, you know. Me and her not seeing eye to eye, ran away from school and everything else, and I mean, she tried hard. She put me in boot camp, and I mean, I went to juvenile. First time I went to jail, I was 15, and I just couldn't. I mean, I just couldn't listen. You know.
Yeah.
And with Dad not being there, I didn't have to listen after being abused all those years. But nobody cool with me then, you know. But my uncle was the only other father figure, other male role model I had in my life, and I didn't know that he'd done drugs his whole life, you know, the way he did and things like that. But right before we left my dad, my uncle would come get me and take me to his house and, you know, kind of hide me out or whatever. And I guess as I got older, my dad thought I could take more licks, I guess you'd say. And I mean, I could, but I guess, I mean, I see how he's seen it now, but I wasn't, you know, kids aren't meant to be raised like that, you know, so. But I always loved him, and I always didn't understand why I did, and I always wanted to go back. So instead of going back, I joined the street gang, and I thought, you know, that would give me some kind of, you know, family group to, you know.
Brotherhood.
Yeah, there you go, brotherhood. Something other than, you know, not having mom at home and stuff like that. Well, like I said, my uncle would always be there for me, and one day, I remember the first drug I did besides marijuana, and I tried, you know, pharmaceutical pills and things like that, but I never just did get a hold on them. And I got drunk. I would always get drunk, and I would, you know, be throwing up and stuff like that, and I wanted something that would bring me back from being drunk. And I was hanging out with my gang one day, and they had some cocaine. I did that, and I did a little bit too much, I think, I'm not sure, but I got real sick. And I finally made it home, and I was just throwing up all night long, vomiting all night long, and my uncle came in there and asked me what's wrong. And I told him, and he's like, here's the only thing that you can do. I was begging him to help me, you know. I mean, I felt bad. He's like, I can take you to the hospital. And I'm like, no, don't take me to the hospital. I was scared. I don't know why, but he was like, the only other thing I can tell you is you can try this, you know. And it was methamphetamines. And he's like, just take 2 hits of it, and but you gotta, you know, promise me that you won't do it or this and this and that's just this one-time thing or whatever. And I was, you know, I swore up and down.
Well, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, but he grew up with me and my mom as under my dad as well too. You know, like almost like a brother.
Right.
And like I said, my mom was only 14 when she had me, so he was like, you know, 10 or 11. So we're real close. And I guess I don't blame him because I was 17 at the time. You know, almost legally grown, but grown enough from where I come from. I was grown. And I hit it, and I didn't stick to it. I didn't, you know, it didn't hang on to me like it does everybody else for the first time, you know. And I got drunk again eventually, and I did it again a couple more times. And then I found myself one day wanting to get higher than high on weed. You know, I just wanted to get higher than high because I couldn't just, you know, I couldn't take a grasp of reality. I couldn't understand why things were the way they were. Right. And I grew up in church, and I would always pray and everything like that. And ask God for help, and it seemed like it always worked until, you know, I started doing more drugs, and then I remember that it wasn't working, or it wasn't working the way I wanted it to work, and it was just because I wanted to get higher, you know, and so I blamed that. I used that as an excuse that it wasn't working, and I was 17, and I started smoking methamphetamines, and I was smoking them strong until a little bit after I was 18 years old, and I slowed down a lot. I got a job and got my own apartment. And started seeing multiple girls at a time, and that kind of took me off everything, you know. The girls, I went to the girl kick like that, you know. And but I was smoking meth off and on, and I lost every girl I had because of that, you know. And I didn't let them know. I was smoking meth off and on until I was about like 20, and that was just full blown meth all the time. And once again, I had. Was going through girl kicking. I had lost a girl from smoking methamphetamines. Well, I didn't have anything, and all my possessions were at her dad's house and stuff, and I couldn't get to them, so I didn't have anybody. I reached out to my uncle, and not for the drugs, but you know, just for, you know, as a father figure and stuff like that. And my gang life was just off the charts, you know. And I didn't want. I was, you know, I could have woke up and went out and never came back plenty of times, you know, been killed or things like that, and did a lot of bad things, and things I wasn't proud of, still aren't proud of, and I wanted to get away from it all, so I called up my uncle, and I went and lived with him. He was living about 2 hours away from where I was in Texas, south of Dallas in Texas, and I went up there, and I was just up there, you know. At first I got a little job working at a parts store, and smoking marijuana and just drinking, and then one day I walked in and I seen that pipe laying on the table, and I was like, well, hey, I've done that before, and I was like, no, better not, and I was like, I just hit it one time. And then it went to, that's when the drug selling and then the you know, stealing and all that, you know, stealing cars and things like that came in.
Just took you to a whole new level.
Oh yeah, you know, I remember I was walking around, I always had a gun on my waist, on my waistband. You know, just I was Cisco the Kid. You know, and just because of the drugs, I didn't want to be like that, but for some reason I felt this urge to be like that. And I always thought I had this reputation to live up to subconsciously. I thought I had this reputation to live up to, that because my dad was who he was, and all my cousins and all my relatives, he was like a superhero to us.
Yeah.
But we just didn't put the drug use into the picture too at the time, you know. And that was a big part of him, you know. And I didn't realize that until after I got older, you know. But so I smoked drugs. I smoked methamphetamines for about 3 years. But that last year, it was really, really concentrated, you know, on methamphetamines instead of marijuana. And I remember every day I would have to have money to go get me a sack of weed. And I remember to the point where one day I sold my car, my very first car, 87 Camaro. I was in love with that thing. I sold it $500 just so I could get some drugs, some meth. And I knew I had a problem then.
Yeah.
I knew it. And the good Lord reached out and helped me at that time. I believe that's what had happened, because 2 days after that I went to jail. And I was way far off, and I had never been to jail as an adult, but, you know, overnight, you know, for setting my garbage outside too early, you know, something like no serious charges. Now I'm in jail. And for failure to identify, lying about my name, trying to get away from another charge about lying about my name down in Longview, where I was from. And all because of this methamphetamine drug. And I still didn't take it into realization that it was the dope.
Right.
You know, and I was up there, and I'll never forget. I was in jail for I was around about 90 days or so, and I wasn't even old enough to buy a beer yet, and I was thinking about how I needed to quit drinking and stuff like that, and I never thought about meth the whole time I was in there. And I prayed to God to show me a sign one day if I needed to do anything different. For some reason, I kept thinking about, I mean, these white supremacist gangs were in there, and they were talking to me about drugs and things like this and that, and I wasn't paying attention to them, and all they were trying to do was get me to get contact with my uncle, because he was a big drug dealer at the time for him. And then it hit me that night. I was laying in my cell, and I was thinking about, you know, using dope. I was like, man, if I was doing, you know, smoking some dope right now, then I'd be drawing, or I'd be working out, or doing, you know, I was fainting for the very first time.
Right.
And I prayed to God that I would never have that feeling again. I said, if I change my life, will you help me and give me a chance to live again, you know, without this drug? And if so, dear Lord, will you show me a sign? And the next morning on Easter, in April, the sun was shining, and all of a sudden the clouds came and started snowing in Texas on Easter Sunday. And I was like, I'll be damned, that ain't the sign right
That's
there.
the sign.
And I quit, and I quit drugs, and never even thought about picking them up. And I was around cocaine, around meth and everything, and didn't think twice about it, you know. And I actually quit smoking marijuana for a long time too. But it was so natural to me, like smoking cigarettes, that even more natural than smoking cigarettes, that I thought that,
right.
You know, it wouldn't be a thing to pick it up, you know. But it is a gateway drug. Marijuana is, you know.
Yeah. So for 10 years, you was drug free.
Yes, ma'am. I came back down to Longview, and my mom said that she had a car that I could take over payments on if I wanted to, and she really didn't want me to, because she knew I'd be getting back out in the streets and stuff. But she wanted me to be able to get out on my own again. And I got me a job building travel trailers. I worked there before, and I got me a job there again. The kind of travel trailers you pull behind to go camping with. And I worked my way up to supervisor, and I was making, you know, well over $20 an hour at that time. And got me an apartment again, and was living on my own. And I met this woman that worked there, and we was in a supervisor meeting. And she kept looking at me. I never forget. I kept looking at her, and I finally asked her to go out with me. And she was like, "Oh no, I ain't going out with no dope head." And I was like, "Well, I don't do that no more." But she knew me through her brothers. I was getting high. I never seen her before, and I would get high with her brothers and stuff. And I was always at their house and never paid attention to her. And man, it took a long time. I'll never forget that. It was from May until July 28th, the day after my birthday. I finally got to come to my birthday party, and the night I was turning 21.
Persistence paid off.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And she was drug free. She didn't smoke cigarettes or anything, you know. And I thought I had won me a trophy, you know. And I still believe that. And I started dating her, and she was a good amount of years older than me, significantly older, like 6.5 years older than me, 7 years older than me. Me being 21, you know, that's kind of young for me to think that someone would be thinking serious, you know, where I come from, you know. I should have been in college and things like that and so forth, but I wasn't. Bouncing back out of drug use and coming from a physical abuse, coming from a childhood that's full of physical abuse, you know, I thought that I was doing pretty damn good where I come from. I thought I was doing damn good to come from OD Queen, you know, scrap my dad. And that gang life I lived, I set it all aside until one day it was behind me and I didn't pick it up anymore. And I asked her to marry me and she said, yeah, and we went and bought a house. And I never forget all these things that are coming back to me now, thinking of like how far off I've done gone and how much I done pissed it off, you know, just for a few hits on the pipe, you know, and so yeah, I was clean. I had 2 kids, and as I got older, I remember when the economy crashed, and I didn't think anything of paying taxes, and then I thought that was 401k and mortgages, and I didn't think an escrow, getting checks back from paying too much on my escrow. I didn't know anything about that stuff, and the economy crashed, and I didn't have a job anymore. I mean, one day we walked out of the plant. I mean, my mom worked there, and I was doing so good that I had to lay off my own mom. I laid off different people, it was down to the point where I had to lay off my own mom, and then I was like, well, I must have made it somewhere. My mom was usually the boss of me.
Right.
And so I laid off everybody. Eventually I had to, and to the point where I was laid off. And we walked out, me and my ex-wife, we walked out hand in hand, and we were doing fine. We were living on unemployment checks. I didn't even know what unemployment was. And our little savings funds that we had. But we were buying a house and buying a car and stuff. Money started running out. And she looked at me one day and said, you need to get a job. And that's when that Facebook had Farmville and Cityville on there, and it just came out, and I was real heavy on that stuff. And I was sitting there on the computer at the house drinking coffee, and I was like, I guess I do. And so I went out, and I told my ex-wife, I said, I'm gonna get one of my friends, we're gonna go job hunting. I went straight to the hood and picked up one of my gangbanging friends, and first thing he said, we'll hit this blunt, and I was like, hell yeah. I got some stress on my shoulders I need to relieve, man, and so we're gonna ride around. I said, I gotta go someplace today, and cause she was real persistent on me being good, and if she thought I was lying or something, and she would call and verify that, like if I said I've been there, she'd, make sure, and I guess she was like a mother figure to me. And
she's keeping you on the straight and narrow road.
Yeah. And so I decided to go to Manpower, so I had some kind of verification that I was job hunting, and got lucky, and just got through smoking a blunt. Took a drug test and passed it. I don't know how. Good Lord, is the only way that could have happened. And got a job at a diesel dealership, and things took off. And I remember thinking they told me I was gonna be a service porter, and I didn't know what a porter was. I thought it was a fancy name for a mechanic's helper. It was a janitor, and I was sweeping and mopping, and I thought this was too big of me, And at the time, I didn't. My pronunciation of words and my dialect was nowhere near like it is now. I couldn't say words like interesting or interesting. I was like interesting, because I was so profound on being hood,
Yeah.
And because that's the way I came up. And they asked me if I ever did any drugs or had any drug use, and I was like, no, I hadn't. And I was lying, and I was like, well, if they ask me that again, then they're gonna come with a drug test, so I can't be lying. So at the time unfolded, I did this job, and I got to wear a uniform. I was part of a crew, and I felt like somebody, and I had these 2 little boys and this woman at the house looking to me for protection and to provide for them. And the protection was no thing, being scrap son. So, but providing was, I couldn't be stealing. I couldn't put my life on the line. I couldn't be risking my life, my freedom, because I had to be there for them, not only to take care of them, but to actually be there for them, to nourish them and stuff as they're growing up. And I put drugs down, and even marijuana. And I never forget that one day I was probably like about 26, 27, and I was like, where are the drugs at? Somebody asked me if I wanted a beer, and I tried to drink one. I couldn't even drink the whole beer, and I set it down, and I kept smoking cigarettes, but that was it. And I was clean for approximately 10 years. Yeah.
And what happened? Out of 10 years of being clean, what happened the day that made you revert back?
Well, I had moved from the international dealership to another company, National Truck Repair, and there was an upcoming company, and I just kept working hard, and perseverance paid off, and I became a service manager. One day out the blue, I just got this promotion, and he said, give me a number, and I was like 18, and I was talking about he was talking about like how much a week, and I was like $1,800 a week, thinking that he wouldn't give me the job because I didn't want it. And he's like, what else do you want? I guess so. I got the job making this money, and and it was good money, you know, and I had, at the time, right before I got that job, the reason why I jumped over there is because she decided she wanted to be a nurse. And so she decided to go to school. Well, she could get Pell Grants and everything except for the CNA at the beginning. And that really put us in a hole, paying for her to go to college in 2 towns over, 2 cities over. We only had 1 car. I remember getting her to take me to work and sitting outside an hour before the gates opened, work, sitting in the grass with my paper sack of lunch, and the dew on the grass had my sack wet, and I pick it up and my lunch fall out and stuff because I had to let her use the car to go to college. And I was like, this is gonna pay off one day. Well, and it did. You know, together we were making over $100,000 a year, and coming from where I come from, I thought, shit, I was living life. I was this bee's knees right here, and so I was looking for some kind of recognition, you know, and and I wanted it from a significant other, and well, she knew where I come from and what I did, and by me telling her, you know, and my kids didn't know anything less than what I had showed them because they have only been with me. My mom was super happy and ecstatic. But she had this boyfriend at the time that me and him didn't see eye to eye, so we really didn't talk that much, but I got her approval a long time ago, you know, where I was going in life. And didn't really have any friends because I was devoting my life to my kids and my wife and going to work and things like that. And baseball practice, and that was pretty much it, you know. And one day I just wanted this, I just felt like I needed to have some recognition from somebody real close to me that knew where I come from, that could, you know, approve of what I've done, you know, give me praise and things like that. Well, why not the person that I strived to be my whole life and now I've done better, you know? And growing up with my dad, he would ask me trick questions and things like that, and I didn't know what a trick question even was at the time. He would be like, who are you gonna be when you grow up? Are you gonna be like me? And I didn't know. I want to say, hell no. But
nobody inspires to be a drug addict when they grow up.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to whoop on my kids like this and be mean. I would just walk straight narrow line every day, and I always did something wrong, you know. And I didn't realize he was always on the edge because of drugs. I just thought it was me. And now I aspire to be better than you. I don't catch chickens, and I'm a real licensed mechanic, ASC certified mechanic, you know, a master mechanic at that. And I got accreditations all over the wall, you know, credentials out this world, and so I said, why not go back to him and show him? But my little sister, my little brother, they didn't see anything wrong with me drinking or anything like that, or maybe smoking a little weed and stuff, because of course I had to take my dad's place when he left, or when we left him. So they really didn't give me any sass about anything, but they sure didn't approve of me smoking meth, you know.
Right.
And but I wasn't at the time, you know. I was clean for like almost a decade, and I said, let's go down here, let's go down to D-Queen, you know, where we know that they don't do anything but party, because there's nothing to do here but party, you know, and show my dad, and show our dad, you know, that I made it. And I went down there as soon as I got out of work, smelling like gold and everything in my uniform with my American flag, my SC certifications, and my international bus certification. I mean, I had just patches all over, like I was in the Army or something, I thought, you know, and I thought I should be in a picture with a wrench in my hand, like, you know. And it's really nothing I can't fix, you know.
And he was proud.
I was super proud of that, you know, and I thought he would be ecstatic. I thought he would, you know, be profound.
As most dads should be.
I mean, I thought it was outstanding what I had accomplished, you know, especially in that amount of time with no education. And I had quit school and never went back and got my GED. I didn't get my GED until here in April this year, you know. And so I thought I had made it a long, long ways from where I come from, and I thought he'd be proud. And so I went down there to show him, and we all got together, him and my aunt and my uncles and my cousins, and we was all drinking and stuff, and I'll never forget, man, this is one of the worst memories I ever had compared to all that stuff I grew up with and everything. And I asked him for a hug. I said, just give me a hug, Dad. Just give me a hug, you know what I'm saying? Just show me you love me. I don't even care. It doesn't even matter if you know I made it or not. Just give me a hug. Tell me you love me. And because he wasn't the type to be emotional, you know?
Right.
You know, because of course he had a bad upbringing compared to mine. I'm pretty sure his was hell. And he was like, get off me, I ain't gay. And I know he really didn't mean that, but that's what he was saying and stuff like that. And then he's still partial to a hug. He don't want one to this day, you know.
And he didn't give you a hug.
No, he didn't. And I remember I thought I was doing pretty good. You know, I had a $750 Mitchell & Ness Chicago Bulls jacket signed by Scottie Pippen on. I mean, I had 22 karat white gold necklaces, and I mean all kinds of stuff. And I was just snatching them off, stuff that I thought that, you know, nobody down here would ever have material wise, and throwing them down on the ground and stepping on them. Everybody was trying to buy me. One of my cousins was trying to buy my jacket from me with $500, and you know, $500 in the ghetto down here. you know, an everyday thing that, you know, and they was like, no, and that's why I showed them that's what I thought of it, and I stepped on it, and I got down on my knees, and I pleaded and begged and pleaded for my dad just to give me some recognition, just give me a hug. And I lost my voice. My voice went away from screaming and hollering all night. I was trying to holler over the music and holler over him and everybody else, just please, please, please. And everybody laughing at me and stuff, to the point where they started feeling sad. And my cousins, I never forget, tears started coming out their eyes. They felt so bad because I would brag when I was a kid. I was the only one with a dad. You know, the rest of them didn't have dads, and I was like, at least I got a daddy, you know. Growing up pretty poor, and they would always, you know, make fun of me not having this, not having that. But I was like, at least I had a dad. At least I got a dad. And they was like, and they knew how much I loved my dad, and they was like, damn. And I seen it in their face, you know, face full of shame for him. And they was, you know, and they feeling bad for me, and I didn't think too much of it, you know. Well, I went back home that night, and I forgot that I had signed up for going to work in the morning. I let everybody off, you know, supervisor-wise, except for me. Being a manager, I come in and handle it myself, just with a few employees. Had a few trucks we had to get out. Well, I didn't come into work, and one of my transmission specialists came to the house. He knew where I lived at, and asked why I wasn't there, because I was the one that had to sign off on the tickets. And he was like, why ain't you here? He brought the tickets to my house for me to sign off on. I signed off on them, told him I had a hangover. And at the time, the company was upcoming, so we didn't have drug tests or anything like that, and I didn't care what somebody did as long as they performed well at work. And so he was like, hey, I knew he smoked meth, and he said, I got something to clear that up. And he said, I was like, no, I'm good, man. And he said, I know you got some weed. And I was like, no, I ain't got no weed. He said, well, I got some. I was like, all right, well, come on in. And thinking that was just gonna be it, you know. And, I got to smoking that blunt, and I was like, man, fuck it. You know, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of feeling like this. I've been working too hard, and all I wanted was a freaking hug and no appreciation. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff I done. And I said, I'll just hit it one time. And that one time turned into two, and that two turned into too many. And I never had a pipe or nothing like that. I never smoked it off tinfoil, never snorted it or ate it. I just smoked it out of a pipe. So as long as I told myself, as long as I didn't have a pipe, I would never get on it. And well, one day I come across that guy again, and he had quit, and I come across him again. And I was like, hey man, I need a pipe. And he's like, what? And he didn't want to give me one. Well, I was like, can I hang out at your house with you? And he's like, yeah. And I just went over there straight just to steal his pipe. And I knew then it was over with for me. I just didn't know how it was gonna unfold. And surely, slowly but surely, eventually, I was back on meth again, to the point where I didn't care about what anybody said. I had money in my bank account. I had a 401k and stuff.
And it's sad, because if your dad had just given you a small amount of recognition,
I went right back to work the next day with the hangover, without one, and kept on striving for greatness. You wanted your dad to be as proud of you as you felt proud of you. Exactly. You know, and people say he does, and I'm kind of sure. I mean, I would hope he does, but I still don't know. You know.
Since then, you was arrested the first time. What did you come to jail for the first time? Were you bonded out?
Here, I had gotten pulled over for some no driver license tickets, and I had been getting out of jail back and forth on those, you know, on the payment plan. And then I got I had come down here after smoking meth. After a while, I pissed my job off and told them I quit and things like that. And I got a couple other jobs like that, you know, with the credentials I had down there. But I just didn't want what I wanted anymore. I wanted it all to go away. And I don't know exactly what I wanted to go away, but I just kept on, you know, smoking.
Self-medicating, just trying to get through life.
Bad. It was back and forth. I would smoke so much good weed that I couldn't really move and do anything, to the point where I had to have meth to get up and even go in the house to play with my kids. And that's when I knew I had fucked up.
Yeah. So the first time you come to jail was misdemeanor?
Here, yes ma'am, here, came to jail for misdemeanor. I hadn't been to jail. I went to jail. I had the worst charge I ever had until I came here. I had got a DWI back when I was 21, 6 months after I turned 21. And they offered me probation. I took it. Never went to court for it again. I didn't get caught until like 3 or 4 years later, one night driving in the middle of the night, coming home from the casino in Louisiana, and I got pulled over, and I went to jail for 3 months. in Longview, Texas, and this is about like 4 years after I went to jail in Corsicana. Other than that, I had only been to jail before for misdemeanors and that juvenile stuff. And I never went to jail for 6 years until I come back down here.
Right.
And when I got down here, my driver's license got suspended, and I got pulled over for no driver's license. I got some tickets, and didn't know that you had to go to court down here when you get a ticket. And down there in Texas, you can get a ticket, you can just pay it on the computer or go and pay it at the office or whatever, or even over the phone with a debit card. But here you have to show up to court and actually, get it initiated. Well, I went to jail on that, and I was driving my girlfriend's SUV, Regina Trustley, and I met her when I come down here after I left my wife and things like that. I come down here to get away from down there because my family didn't approve of me. My mom, my sister, my ex-old lady my ex-old lady now, and my kids didn't know, and I didn't want them to know. But nobody approved of me doing drugs, methamphetamines, and I didn't care. Right. I didn't give two shits. I went and got my own little garage out in the country and things like that, and I had enough clientele to where I was making enough money, working for myself, that I didn't need anybody. But I still didn't feel this void that I had, and so I started coming down here, knowing that my dad didn't care if I did drugs, and maybe I would be cooler in his eyes if I had drugs to do them with him, and I honestly thought that if I could get high with him or get him high off, on my dime,
he would accept you.
And I think it made him hate me even more. Really though, I don't know what he wants out of me. I know he wants me to do good. I know he loves me, the way he can, and I don't mean to be bashing him or anything like that. I love him to death, what I'm saying. I understand now after doing drugs, with him, I really understand now. But I met this little cutie, and she did drugs, and I couldn't tell she did drugs, and I didn't look like I did drugs either. So, but we hit it off and stuff. We'd go to the casino time to time, and we were both coming out of a relationship, and so we had a lot in common. And she didn't have her mom and dad from them being deceased, and I didn't have my mom because I pushed her away, for her trying to help me so much. She would always be there. I talked to her like one time since I've been here this time, and so. Not having her and not having my dad, because I could only have him to a certain extent, because he's got stuff that he still has to deal with to this day, and I feel terrible about that for him. But I met her and everything just went away, Well, she was using drugs to cope with her problems, and then I started using her to cope with my problems, but that's the only thing we actually had at the time before we got to know each other, because on meth, it's called speed, because you speed up,
Right.
We were going so fast that I couldn't actually get her to sit down and tell me her problems, and plus she didn't want to because she was an emotional bombshell when this stuff came out. And right before I met her, she had caught a possession charge, and then my oldest brother, people know him as Onion, my oldest brother, he had just got the program, and it was clean, so she got offered the program, and we had been together for a few months, and she got the program, and I'll never forget, right before she got the program, I just didn't, I had got into a fight over, I was in love with her quick, and this guy, it was over drugs and her. I stole his drugs and his girlfriend, and not actually like took his drugs from him. I got her to bring them to me, and I got her to bring herself to me, and he hated me. And one day he showed up, and we got a fight. I got stabbed in the face, and now the old Louie comes back out like, this is what I lived for at the time in my life before I got married. I didn't care, and I didn't need drugs now. I'm living on adrenaline. And one day I woke up and she wasn't there and the drugs weren't there, and I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. And so I didn't have any means of transportation. I had sold my motorcycle and sold my car, and I had a car, but I left it in Texas. Another car, I left it in Texas. I didn't have any dividends, no funds at all. And so I did what came natural. I took a car, and it was a car that I knew I could take, I didn't plan on keeping the car or anything like that. I just knew at the instant, at the moment I wanted to run that instant. And I did, and I got down to Texas, and I knew that the police found out about it, and they wanted me for questioning or whatever, and so I didn't want to come back. And then I got a hold of her, and she looked bad, and she's always been so beautiful to me, and she looked bad because she was stressed out because she didn't have anybody, and I didn't realize that she was counting on me that much. And so here I come running back, not caring about the charge or anything like that. And I couldn't do too much or nothing because if I got caught by the police, then I'd be in jail,
Right.
And well, she was in the program, and the only support system that she had. And I couldn't do anything from the police looking for me, so I just kind of hibernated and smoked drugs. And it was about this time of the year, you know, from Thanksgiving till, you know, January, February. And I smoked drugs the whole time, trying to cope with what the hell I was going to do with myself, let alone her, you know.
Right.
And when she got out, and the program was going to do, it didn't have as many aftercare advantages as it does now, nowhere near as many. And it didn't have the biggest support group, you know, and on top of that, me being me, you know, I wasn't gonna say no to her doing drugs, but I would, you know, which isn't any different than, you know, handing them to her. So that's what I thought.
Right. So you, when you went to jail, you went to jail here for stealing the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you bonded out, and you were going to go into the RSAT program.
Well, actually, I got put on probation for stealing that car, and I messed the probation up.
Oh.
And see, that's the biggest. That's my,
right.
You know, I'm paying for this and for more than, and you know, for more than one occasion.
Right.
See, actually, she got a second chance. When she came out of the program, she, you know, she made it from February to like this is last year, February to March or something. I mean May, something like that. And of course, me having it all the time, giving it to her didn't help none. You know, I'm supposed to be a support system. I got put on. I wasn't arrested yet for that charge. I had went to court, and court coming up. I got arrested and got bonded out after that, and she bonded me out. And then I knew I had to go to court one day, and I went to court, and they told me I was facing 2 years ADC, and that I had another court date, but the captain of police said I had some city tickets. Well, I didn't know that I could get right back out on them, so I actually left court that day before they called my name, and me and her was gonna Bonnie and Clyde it, you know, and hide out. And well, we couldn't.
Just freaked out.
Yeah, I had never been in any trouble. It was my first felony ever, you know, and I didn't know what to do. And she's pregnant now at the time. She just got pregnant, so I didn't know what to do, you know. I can't go to the penitentiary, and she has a baby without me and stuff. I see what she did without me and not being pregnant, so I said, I'm gonna go back to Texas and get a job, and I'm gonna go down there and get us a place to stay. And you can come down there with a hideout forever. Well, as soon as I got to Texas, I had got arrested down there, and I went to jail for, I think I got like 70, 80 days in jail, and I got extradited back down here for that charge, for stealing that car, and I went to court, and I prayed, and the whole time, I mean, I actually, when I came out that time, I was clean, you know, after this, you know, but I prayed the whole time, and my mom sent me a Bible, and I was gonna change my life around just like I did the first time, you know, and give it another shot with her. And not only did I deserve it, my kids deserved it, but she deserved it too.
Right.
And I got probation. I got lucky and got probation, which is really unheard of down here, especially for the mischief that I had caused, you know. And when I was on probation, they were still looking for her. And well, we had our baby December 30th last year, a little girl, beautiful little girl named Lily. And she had got sick from the C-section, had an infection or whatever, and so she had to go back to the hospital and stuff. So she couldn't really move around, so we couldn't run anymore like we were.
Right.
And she was tired of running. She was just wore out from that, you know. And it wasn't like we were seeing them and then they were chasing us or nothing, but just ducking and dodging, you know. And I had got job opportunities. I knew something had to give. I had got job opportunity at Tyson's and pissed it off. I got a job opportunity at Warehouser and pissed it off, you know, from being late from smoking meth. You know, couldn't get there on time. And so we got arrested at the beginning of this year in January. And so she got sent to rehab, and I was like, that's great. 18 months of rehab, which is a long time, but she may need that, you know. And me still smoking meth and on probation, you know, failing drug test, and finally it just eventually rolled into one big old snowball where I wasn't showing up and wasn't paying and stuff. And she was like, she left rehab one day, and that was the day I decided, matter of fact, earlier that day I decided I wasn't gonna go to probation anymore. And she said, come get me, babe, I'm in Little Rock. And I came and got her. And this is when meth really took a hold of me. I came and got her. And then the same day that I went and got her, we went to casino and stuff, we were doing good. And I was treating her really nice and stuff, and I had this big old demon in me. I don't know what it was. We got into an argument, and I jumped on her, and it's not me, you know. And I knew I had a problem then, and there wasn't no running from it anymore. So she went back and went to this another rehab facility or whatever, and was still trying to do good because she had a job down there, and she still kept her job. Like I said, she wasn't there but for one day, and I got arrested for that and got my rights at all the same time. My rights to our child terminated and everything, being an unfit parent, and that hit me hard, hit me real hard. And she was still trying to do good and stuff, and but then they put a warrant out for me for this probation, revocation, and I didn't know that I was revoked on probation. And I got arrested one day. I decided to do good again, and went and got a job at KFC, and I thought that was below me, but being a meth head, not knowing that ain't nothing really below that at all. Thought working at a fast food restaurant was below me. I'm a decent mechanic, but I got the job, and I came home one night with a bunch of chicken hanging on the handlebars of a bicycle. I was riding a bicycle back and forth to work in the summer. I got arrested, and I thought I was just for my payment plan, not paying on time, and they said I had a felony warrant, and I knew then that I was going to penitentiary. She came back from Little Rock and bonded me out of jail this time, $500 cash bond. And my mom wouldn't even answer the phone, things like that. I knew it was time for me to get ass whooping, I guess you'd say. And Regina was there for me, and I knew that it was time for me to do something different, but I didn't have anybody in my head telling me besides myself. I didn't have, and the life I lived with the abuse I had, I couldn't be punished enough.
Right.
I would think at the time I thought, and then that kleptomaniac kicked in again and things like that. And so I was out on bond, and I got ankle monitors to pay off my city tickets, and that's when I committed the other crime of breaking and entering, into a refrigerator.
What did you steal?
Some popsicles and some pork chops. And I didn't even get to eat the pork chops.
I mean, theft is theft, whether it's a lollipop or whatever.
But I thought, and I thought it would have been a theft property charge, but it would be a misdemeanor or something, but I got a breaking and entering charge. Instead of fighting or anything like that, I figured, it's time for me to get my ass handed to me, and I had to straighten up. So
what, with this sentence of breaking and entering, what are you looking at?
I started signed for time November 14th, like 2 weeks ago, for 4 years, ADC.
So you're going to ADC?
Yes, ma'am.
But since you've been here at the Sevier County Jail, they have got some new programs and services.
Yes, ma'am. I think that I'm not asking to be released or anything like that, but I think that the biggest part of my punishment or my correction has already been handed to me. This program. This fatherhood class they have in this program is an excellent class, 2 hours every Friday. And towards the end there, we was going every other day, to catch up. And so to finish it off before this class graduated, and I got the blessing of being able to participate in that fatherhood class, which I think is the biggest and the best program in my opinion. I got a lot of credentials and stuff, so but I think it's the biggest and best program that they have to offer. And in this biggest class they had to offer in this program. And like I said, my brother was the first class, and my fiance now, wife to be soon, was in the second class. And I got cousins they're in the program right now. Kevin Bailey, he's my cousin. Brandon Colt, he's my cousin. He came out the one before this one. Kevin Bailey came out this last one. So I know what the program is about. But I didn't know what the program was about on the inside. I know what it was about, on the outside, making someone, And I was at first before I got. This past summer, I was attending the classes, that they would have, like NA and CR or nothing but the Sean Mitchell class he had at the park on Wednesdays. I was going to that one. I actually even joined the softball team. But none of that, all that combined didn't compare to this fatherhood
class. And
nobody other than Joe Vance and Mr. Walcott himself, wonderful Mr. Walcott, put it on. I remember when I first went to the fatherhood class, it was just to get out the pod. And I was like, then I was in there, I'm like, damn, this class is long. I want to go back. We missing trays. The trays been passed out an hour ago. Food gonna be cold. I was complaining. And then the next class I went to, Mr. Walcott said, we're gonna start it over. And I was like, God damn.
So one last question on what do you think the fatherhood class makes it so successful?
Well, first and foremost, like I said, the one from Mr. Walcott, you got people like him putting it on, on his own expense. He could he could hire somebody else, and I'm sure he's not doing it to save money or anything like that. I'm pretty sure, because the class I did it with him, I don't know if he did it before this class we did, but it seems like it was his first class, because he got a lot out of it too.
It's new. I do know it's new.
He's got a lot. He got a lot out of it. I could tell, and I always thought he was a quiet man, but he got a lot of. I got a lot of insight on the program, looking at it through his eyes, because he had some, things that he had under the blanket that was, unrevealed, and I didn't know about that.
Well,
but
we all have parts of our life that are troubled. Everybody, you can look, because there's no one that's perfect. No one person is perfect. So when you do go to ADC, is there classes and stuff there? I mean, what is your plans when you complete this time? When you get out of ADC, where do you see yourself in the future?
I want to pick back up on where I left off at college. Getting I just got my GED, so I'm going to enroll myself in college, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm trying to get my arts and associate's degree in something, and something another. Very educated person, I believe. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna be a father first and foremost.
Awesome.
If it wasn't for this program, like I said, Mr. Walcott wouldn't let me sleep or nothing. I'd try to sleep, and they send the jailers back there to wake me up. Like, where is Mr. Barrington at? And I'm glad he did that, and I really am. That's why I said the wonderful Mr. Walcott. I wasn't being sarcastic at all. Yeah, he does, and I didn't think he did. Being so quiet, I thought he was stuck up and things like that,
No.
And I thought I got on his bad
all.
side. He OR'd me one time, and I didn't go to court, and I thought, I got on his bad side. But I'm glad that he actually let me come, made sure that I was attending this class and things like that. And I was a great father. I mean, I know I was, but that's the key part of it. I was. Yeah. I'm not anymore. But now, when I get out,
you can be.
I'm going to be again. Yes, ma'am.
One more thing before we go. If your mom, your child, if anyone out there is listening, what would you like to say to them?
Just say no. It's that easy. It really is. It's not that easy after you start doing, but it's a lot easier to say it before you start doing.
Right. But if there's a personal message you'd like to say to your mom or your son, what would it be?
Other than the fact that I sincerely apologize, I'm growing up finally.
You got your life in order now.
Yes, ma'am.
Priorities are in order.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks to this little bitty Sevier County and this program that they offer, even though I didn't get to take it, I got a lot out of it that, more than I should have,
right.
Being that I messed up again, but I did get a lot out of it. And, thank you, Mr. Walcott, and thank you, Sevier County. But if I do continue to stay in Sevier County, I will be a stand-up role model,
right.
for this community. And wherever I'm at, I'm going to be a, stand-up role model, But I apologize to my family for the time that I wasted with myself, and that I am changing, and I will change for the
right.
better.
Well, Louie, I wish you all the best in the world, and hopefully this time that you spend incarcerated will just help you with the tools, the programs, the services to better your life from this day forward.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you.
Please support our sponsor, RenovationTea.com. You'll find a large variety from daily to specific herbal remedy teas, all certified organic and fair trade. Use code SHATTERED and you'll get a 10% discount. You can see the link below. Hi, I'm Dee. I'm the host of the Shattered Podcast. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell on the notifications so you won't miss an episode. I'm very passionate about helping families. If you are an expert that would like to help or would like to share your testimony, please contact me. Thank you.